I've just had the opportunity to visit with Bobby Jennings and family and tour their superbly managed tree farm. It's an excellent example of multiple-use forest that provides an abundance of wood products, maintains water quality, provides habitat for many species of wildlife, and at the same time offers many opportunities for recreation and educational outreach. Welcome to the tree farm of our 2008 Tree Farm Family of the Year, the Bobby Jennings Tree Farm. Bobby Jennings gives us some of the early background of his life and the beginnings of his interest in rural farm and forest lands.
I really was interested in forest or farming when I was a young boy. My daddy led me into it. I went around with him on the milk routes and just learned everybody really who lived wherever they lived. I knew the people.
You said your father ran around the milk route.
Right.
What picking up or delivering, or?
We had a carnation milk route. We picked up milk throughout the country to carry to the carnation plant in Dayville.
Okay.
And they, of course, I believe belonged to Pet Milk. Pet Carnation Milk, and they processed that milk up there. But we had a 90-mile ride each day, each morning, and we'd leave about 5 o'clock and get in Dayville about 10.
Much of the existing forest today on the Jennings Tree Farm was not developed on open farmlands, but followed the harvest of existing timber stands. Let's take a look at this excellent example. Bobby, this is a beautiful stand of timber here. It is really long and tall, and I understand it's a plantation that you established here on this property.
Doug, this was a hardwood stand when we had this completely clear cut. We came back and planted these pines in 1976.
All right.
And about 16 years later, I started the prescribed burn program to reduce the fuel around this property, on this property.
Yeah.
And we burned this. And here lately, I have started a growing season burn. And this was burned June the 18th of this year.
So it's working, it looks like. It looks like it's getting pretty cleaned up around here.
It really is. It's done a real good job, and it also gives me a different type of wildlife food here. It's got new growth, and the wildlife, I think, will come in on it and enjoy the new growth here.
Yeah, they say they like this succulent new growth sprouting coming up.
And so this property has been thinned twice over the years.
Okay.
And let's just walk on up here a little ways. And I'm just looking at this diameter here. This is a pretty nice diameter on this tree right here, you see.
Yeah, to me it's around about an 18-inch, plus or minus an 18-inch tree there. Big 16 anyway. There's an 18 over there.
Yeah, so, but anyway, this is an experiment I'm trying on, growing season burn, trying to control the hardwood brush. This is what I'm doing here.
A good sample of the forest practices carried out by Bobby Jennings is demonstrated in this next forest scene. Bobby, this stand here, what has been done to this particular stand?
This stand, I have processed a act of vegetative management control by using arsenal and sprayed it. Plus, it's been burned for about 18 years, about every 3-year rotations.
Okay.
And
this looks like a natural stand.
It is a natural stand, and of course we've thinned this little area, the whole area, about twice through here, Doug. And,
okay.
And it just, and I'm very interested in this wildlife program, and this is what on these open canopies, this is what I'm trying to do, is to open up these understory stock to let the sunlight hit the ground here.
Right, this is like butterfly pea here. It's a good legume, especially for quail. And it looks like you've done the job here. This is so clean, it looks so good. You've really done a good control job here, it appears. A considerable contrast in management practices is shown on the forest stand across the road. Bobby, this looks like a real good contrast compared to the other side of the road here.
Well, Doug, it certainly is. This is a, you might say, a 25-year-old plantation pines here.
Right.
And only thing I've done here is use prescribed burning.
Okay, and you've thinned it.
I've thinned it twice. It's been
Right.
thinned twice, and looks like it's getting ready now for another thinning whenever I can get someone in here. But
right.
But it hasn't had the vegetative management control installed on it.
It sure looks like that does the job, doesn't it?
It sure does.
Managing natural stands has been practiced where this method of reforestation has been an acceptable option on the property, even though much of the property has been planted since Bobby started managing his tree farm. Bobby, as I have driven through your property and looked it over, it appears to me what I really think a modern managed pine forest in the South should look like. This is really looking good. What did you do here?
This was, so when we cut the timber in 1971 and 2, it was cut to a seed tree.
Uh-huh.
And we left it alone over here for, it seemed like for 25 years, it just wouldn't grow. It was so thick. It was like hair on a dog's back, Doug, and we were very disappointed in the project. But however, we finally got it thinned, and we've actually had it thinned twice now, and the timber is coming on pretty good at this time.
Yeah.
And we think we've got something here that we can be proud of in the future.
Well, it looks like you're under the burning program here too, and you've got a lot of partridge pea and butterfly weed pea and a lot of other things here for wildlife.
I have also sprayed this with arsenal, and I burn it about every 3 years.
Uh-huh.
And to keep the vegetation down for the wildlife, for the turkeys and the quail and the deer.
Well, it's really looking good. There is special consideration given to predominantly hardwood drains and lower slopes. Bobby, this hardwood stand here, what was your reason for leaving it?
Well, Doug, I wanted to have some diversity on this farm out here. I wanted some hardwoods left for the wildlife and also for aesthetics. I think it's beautiful to have hardwoods mixed in, and
yes,
and also it filters the water off these hills and keeps the streams clean.
A good streamside zone.
That's the streamside zone. It adds to it.
And you got some quality hardwood coming on here for saw timber too.
And I'm just real proud to be here, and I'm so glad that we left it in this shape.
Well, it's looking great. I think you've done well by leaving this. Forest roads are essential in the management of timberlands. The Jennings Tree Farm contains an excellent road system, giving access to all areas of the property for harvest and other silvicultural activities. A very good example of the road system is this stream crossing.
Doug, this is an area here on the stream zone that I'm trying to protect the water quality.
Right.
I've installed geotech fabric under this gravel. We put gravel over it, trying to protect the quality. And here's a piece right here showing us popped up. I need to sort of spread it out and put some more gravel over this. But I think this really protects the water quality, and I have it on all my stream crossings.
That's great. Now it looks like there's not much water in here right now.
Yes, it's been dry. It really has. But it's a flowing stream through here, I promise you. It really flows. It's a beautiful little scenery here.
It really is.
And,
I noticed as we came down the road there that you had a lot of well-spaced, well-maintained water bars or turnouts too to help filter
that's
that water
exactly
off the
right.
side.
With that, I try to turn the water off the road and let it filter through the leaves and the pine straw to sort of clear it up before it hits the stream.
It's a beautiful stream here, beautiful setting. A very special place in the hearts of the family and others is this natural area along Big Hillaby Creek. Bobby, this particular spot I know is very dear to your heart, and there's a lot of history here and with you and prior to. Could you tell me something about this particular area and what's developed here?
Yes, Doug. When I bought this tract of land, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago, I was told that this area was left. They cut the timber all around it, clear cut the timber, but they left this area right here for picnics and swim holes. And the Boy Scouts out of Atlantic City came out and they would camp out here. And This was left just for the aesthetics and the camping here on Hillaby Creek. And of course, this creek right above a few hundred feet of the creek, Nettie Choctaw, a creek comes in from Clay County, and Little Hillaby meets together just right above us, and that's the mouth of Big Hillaby. And this Big Hillaby runs into Lake Martin. It's probably the main stream going into Lake Martin, north of the dam up here. And we just enjoy it so much. When I do some fishing up here, and we do a little camping, and we have school children, or say school families come out here, Sunday school families come out here, I'm sorry, and visit the weekends and fish and sunbathe and wade, the little children wade. And it's just a great spot. It's dear to my heart, it really is, and it's in there forever wild, and I'm so proud of that. This is going to be nature from now on.
That it's in their program.
It's in their program.
In perpetual.
Forever. And this is my gift to society, I hope. I'm so proud of that.
And you said it was 51 acres?
51 acres.
51 acres.
In forever wild.
Managing for wildlife has been a growing interest for Bobby Jennings.
Doug, this is a field right here that Bill Frazier, about 20 years ago, 25 years ago, when the McDonald's owned this property, they planted this in loblolly pines. And he was telling me they got up about waist high, maybe head high, and the beavers came in here and just wiped this field clean.
They can do it. They can do it.
And they grew up in brush, just all kinds of brush in here, and I came in here and converted it to a green field.
Yeah, it's a long one. It's a long.
It's 1,300 feet from one end to the other, and it's a narrow, long green field with a lot of cover on the sides.
Yeah.
And
we're right along Hillaby Creek here, all the way down.
All the way down.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to do something for the wildlife, to harvest wildlife and have a nice field here.
The Jennings Tree Farm is rich in the early history of this region of Alabama.
This is what they call the old home place of the Peppers.
This is the old chimney site.
The old chimney site of the Peppers home place.
Yeah.
And you remember Congressman Claude Pepper from Florida?
That's one I will remember that name, yeah.
And he was a senator at Florida at one time, and back after World War II, the Cold War, he was a very good friend of Starling's. And if the American interests, they wanted any discussion with Starling, they had to go through Claude Pepper. And of course, the people of Florida didn't like that, and they put him out as a senator. They beat him, and of course, he came back a few years later, and he was a supporter of the elderly people. He supported he stayed in Congress. He was about 93 or 4 or 5 years old. I think he died there.
Yeah, well, a lot of people remember Claude Pepper.
And this is they had about 400 acres in here. And Dr. Harlan, when he had this place, he bought everything east of the Hillaby Creek over here, and the paper company owns west of the Hillaby Creek. And so this is sort of a historic site that I'm real proud to have. The Peppers were, and he finished school over at Camp Hill, Alabama, and he's a country boy, and he always said he was going to be a state senator, he wanted to be a senator. And he went to the University of Alabama and got his law degree, and darn if he didn't make it. He made it, he was senator down in Florida.
Well, how about that? Education and outreach has played an important role on the property as Bobby reaches out to other tree farmers. This looks like it would be the plot center of a demonstration plot to identify the various forest products in each of the trees represented here. And you said this was actually used on
May the 7th, 2007, we had a forest field day here.
Yeah.
And we had, Doug, we had around 220 forest landowners here.
Great.
And to attend this seminar. And of the 220 people attending, 90% were landowners.
Uh-huh.
And you'd be surprised, they were mostly from large landowners to medium-sized landowners.
Uh-huh.
And we use this as a demonstration plot to, like I say, demonstrate the different products that might be taken out of trees. And I want you to know that we had a great response.
Great.
From all these landowners. They really enjoyed this field day, and
And you said they had you sent out a questionnaire and you had a
tremendous
response from those.
And most of the landowners, 95% said they own land because of the investment. Timber investment was their concern. And I was surprised that I thought maybe wildlife would have been in there close.
Yeah.
And
well, I would have thought so too this day and time.
But these landowners, and it was about 60 returned of those, and we passed out about 70.
That is a good return on that many questionnaires.
And I'm telling you that what impressed me was that every one of them that sent in the questionnaire, we asked them, did you learn anything that would alter your forest plan? And every one of them says they did. They learned something from this field day, that they would change their forest plan of their program they had.
Bobby talks about his concern for the future of the property.
Well, Doug, one of my concerns is what's going to happen when I'm not here and Marilyn's not here. And I just wonder about the transfer. I'm from the tax standpoint or what have you, and it's a real concern that I have. I want this thing to be carried on out, and I want my daughter and son to enjoy it, to learn to love it like I do, and to pass it on down to my grandson. I want him to have it too.
Marilyn Jennings describes the jubilation on learning that they had been chosen as the Alabama Tree Farm Family of the Year.
Well, you just don't know how proud we were, and I just got to tell the morning you called, and Bobby had gone to bed, and so the next morning he realized he had a message on the phone, and he came running in the bedroom. I won. And it was like a little young boy in school.
It was important to me because I had put a lot of work in it, and
so it's just, we just appreciate it so much. All this hard work, it has shown.
Daughter Cammie gives us her thought.
I'm just real proud that my father received it because he loves his land and he works his work very hard, as you've said, but I was just real tickled and I thought he deserved it, and we're all happy for him.
I know that you've enjoyed the tour of Bobby Jennings Tree Farm. It's a shining example of Alabama forest. Bobby sets the standard for managing the total forest resource here in our wonderful state. I know that you'll agree with me that he is truly deserving of the title of Alabama's 2008 Tree Farmer of the Year.